Hello everybody, Doug here, Ellis Car Customs. If you're new, thanks for checking me out. If you're returning, welcome back. I'm really excited that everybody is digging the channel and the content, and you know, nobody's been saying anything too terrible about me, so that's good. So getting back into the project here, let me show you what I'm doing now. I'm going to try to hold this camera as steady as I can, but bear with me, people. So I got to get all these trim pieces off that are on there. They cast these trim pieces out of solid blocks of unobtainium, and you know, they're actually in good shape. I mean, they sort of look terrible or whatever, but if you put a little buff on them or whatever, they're going to shine right up. They're stainless steel, so they don't rust or rot away. So we're going to get those things off so we have access to those channels underneath of it to do a little cutting and welding and fitting. And coming back here, you have all these inner pieces like these here that go to the posts at the back. When they were new, they were chrome plated. Now it would cost me a fortune to have them re-chrome plated, and it would cost probably an even bigger fortune to find a set of them in really good condition. So probably what I'll do is sand those down and paint them, depending on what color the interior winds up being. I could, you know, maybe paint them metallic silver, or if I go with a white headliner, I could paint them white. The trim pieces that go around the top of the door down the B-pillar, those are stainless and they'll shine up. But we have to get all that trim off to be able to have access to what we need to weld. And things seem to be going alright so far. Things are beginning to come together. So I'm going to get a little work done here, and I'll bring you back and show you how it's going. Thanks. Well, for the first time in 50 years, the rear posts are married to these rear quarter pieces that they've been separated from for so many years. Now that we've got the front and the rear kind of locked where they need to be, I did a lot of careful measuring. I measured the lift gate that goes in this opening, and top and bottom. It kind of flares out as it goes down, and I made sure that those openings lined up with the measurements for the lift gate, with a little bit of space on each side to spare, so that it's not jammed up against the moldings or against the channel there. You need a little bit of breathing room for your rubber seal to seal on there. But we've got the posts kind of lined up where they are supposed to be, and you can see the door alignment is still pretty good. So we're good there, and we're good at the back. So all we got to do is fill in the bits in the middle. We'll have to clamp this down and line what's left of those channels up in order to weld in the good parts of this. Then I'm gonna have to bend up new metal for the channels and redo that on both sides. But I'll start zipping it in there, and then I'll bring you back when I got a little more done. So getting back to this being a learning experience for both of us, let me show you what I found out. I temporarily tacked the posts on both sides there at the front, and unfortunately, well, you learn things every day. There's way more differences in the door jamb between the two-door hardtop and the Nomad than I thought. I thought it was just height that would be a difference, but that's not the only difference. When you close the door, you can see how the door jamb kind of swoops back that way, and the Nomad door is more up and down, so that's why they're not meeting there. At first I was like, the measurement between the post and the B-pillar, as long as the post is lined up at the front, that is a measurement that's never going to change. Same with the B-pillar, because this is all locked together. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to split this jamb and lay it back. This is the piece of the Nomad jamb that I cut off of this side. The other side was cut higher and didn't include the latch. But when you put that in there, you can see how it's more up and down and doesn't curve in like the hardtop does. So not only do we have to lay this out some, but we have to build it up, we have to lay this out, and we have to lay this back in order to make things work. The bottom is fine, the bottom will be fine when the door is shut, but as it goes up, you can see how the quarter and the jamb curve in towards the door. So that's a difference I wasn't anticipating, but that's alright, we'll work it out. And once I have a solution for that, I'll show you how that's going to work. And right now it's sitting up on top of here, and that's what's making it ride up here, because I have to trim some of that inner out to get this to lay down while I do the jamb at the same time. And like I say, all this rusty metal is going to be replaced. It's just basically there as a guide. There's actually good metal here underneath that once this sits down where it belongs and I zip it along, at least up until this point, I can tack this good metal to this metal and cut out this rusty bit. And then where this is really bad here, I'm going to have to remake all those channels. But at least I have somewhat of a guide of what they're supposed to do, and I'll remake them, and then I'll test fit the glass to make sure they're going to line up with the grooves before I sink the welds too deep. And we'll have to do the same thing on the other side, but I'll get busy and see what I can do. So here you can see a little more what I was talking about with the trim. That, it's all there, but the chrome is gone, it's rusty. So we'll sand it smooth and figure out what color we're going to paint it down the road. I'll tell you what, them 70-year-old screws did not want to let go of that trim, and half of them I wound up having to drill out just to get them out. But I'll show you what I got going on over here. I've got this section here zipped in, so this is all one big piece now. And what I've made up, I've got a piece of bar stock kind of bridging that gap between the two rotted pieces, and I made this piece, and that's going to go in there where that rotten bit is. So what I'll do is I'll chop this stuff out, because we're going to make it one side at a time. And I'm going to chop this stuff out, then I'll fly this piece in where I chopped that out, and tack her in there, get it all pounded down where it needs to be, and then we'll make a piece for the back side here. Might have to be 2 pieces. It's pretty complex stuff going on there, but when we get them both made up, you know, weld them in, and then we'll pinch weld them together, and that should bridge that gap. And I got a little piece I got to make here that was hiding under that trim, but you get up along here, this is not too terrible. So we'll get that figured out, and we got to do the same thing on the other side, and we got to figure out this bit here. But once these are kind of attached here, before I cinch anything in too tightly, I'm going to bring out the windows and test fit them in the openings just to make sure they're not going to bind, or if I don't have to move something up or down, in or out, whatever it takes to make sure that the windows are going to fit in there. I'm going to need new rubbers for the windows, obviously, but if it looks like I got a decent gap around them where the rubber's going to fit in there, then I'll call that a win. So I'll deal with this, and I'll let you go there. I'll bring you back on the next video, show you how that made out. Maybe we'll get a little progress done on that other side where it's got the same issue, and I'll show you that. Again, thanks for liking and commenting and subscribing and all those great things that YouTubers say, and I hope I'll see you on the next one. Take care.